Um, I am just about to go through my usual prep, so it's good to have you with me and be good to hear your views. I'll just quickly go through, look at some market proxies, and then we can go through and have a look at what we are seeing in these markets and what we could potentially trade and get out of this week. Okay, so weekly Dow, we'll start with the main US indices, then we'll go quickly on to some market proxies and then look at European indices. So we have, after this big shock, demand shock, and drop to 18,000, just over 18,000, we have this pretty narrow range week, couple of weeks here, but we are eking lower, and we are having broken down underneath this key resistance level at 25,250 and gone underneath the daily 50-day average. We should continue to look for shorts and see if we can come down to 24,000, 23,800 is the 50%. So 50% of the whole year so far, 2020, bear in mind we're just about halfway through now. We will be halfway through effectively from Wednesday, or end of Tuesday if you like. So we are literally on the halfway mark and yet the markets are very close to the halfway mark, oddly enough. Well, it's not oddly enough, that's about right, given the sort of time of the year we've got, the sort of normal cycles, I mean. And you can see the stochastic, it doesn't matter what indicator you've got, let's put MACD on there as well, because I do like MACD. You can see, and what I would take from the MACD is that we are so weak. This MACD hasn't even got, or the averages haven't got to the midline. We're so weak. Histograms have. So the histograms are losing momentum. There's still a positive colour, but they are losing momentum, as is obviously the market. So I think there's still, I suspect we're still going to see a pick, at least I hope we're going to see a pickup, and a pickup into that area there will then allow us to potentially get nice and short. So what levels should we look at? Well, let's drill down to a 4-hour chart. And you will see the way I got my 4-hour chart. Let's take off some of these indicators now. I'll take off volume. In fact, tell you what, let's take off everything. Let's have a cleaner sheet and drill back to what I've got showing on you. So, okay, so I've squeezed this chart up just so we can see the general pattern. And you will see this is fibbed from the 2020 highs to the 2020 lows. Here's the 50% we talked about, 23,800. And so on Friday, we closed under this key level here. That average is a nice slow 20-day average. And so all we've done is bumped into the 20-day average and then continued to close lower. So in answer to my own question, what's the best place to short? Well, ideally, another test of 25,860. Otherwise, if that is not possible, at this stage it does seem unlikely. The best thing you can do is look for a pullback into that the mid-range of Friday's sell, which is where all the resistance is now from the Sunday open on the 21st. And that puts it at 25.5, 25,400, 25.5. Any higher, if we do get any push into that trend line resistance, that would be an opportune moment to potentially trade it. I'm actually going to take that. Yeah, I prefer that trend line. That's the most recent high on June 9 and the first peak that we've seen since that initial drop on June 16. So the likelihood is the likelihood of us coming into that resistance is good because that lines up with the trend line. Okay, so let's have a look at the bigger picture on the, let's look at the daily first, of this one, and then we'll move on. So there's my daily chart. We have come into support from the Monday 15th. Let me just update that. I'm going to take that trend line off. I'll show you a big channel we've got lined up on this. So we've effectively just broken that trend line from that Monday 15th low. So like I said, any pullback into Friday's range is, but in theory, that's all we should get in theory. And then the next level down there is that 24,000 mark. Okay, let's look at the NASDAQ. What the NASDAQ does, the rest of the market tends to follow. So you can see we had a sell signal on the 24th on Wednesday, picked up on Thursday, and then into that resistance on Thursday, closed at the resistance, but then fell on the Friday. So we're coming out, so it looks to me as if this one is going to come and see 9,500, and if that doesn't hold, then lower. Let's look at the DAX. DAX is a pretty similar picture. They've got this main trend line just underneath us. So any pullback into 12,200 could potentially see us come back to that 15th low, 11.6, close underneath that, and then that is potentially a lot lower. FTSE. That is holding at a key support level at the moment. We're under the trend line. That is holding up. Of all the indices, that's holding up better. That held the Thursday range. I didn't expect that. That is unexpected. Let's look at China. So there's not a lot at the moment. There's not a lot of selling. So it's the US markets that are coming off. It's the US markets that have been very expensive, particularly that NASDAQ. So at the moment, it's the US markets that are getting punishment. Right, let's look at some market proxies. Dollar coming up. So if we sustain that, if we close above this 97.70, that opens the door for much higher moves. Close underneath that, and that could roll over, but it's borderline because we're not closing above that trend line, and we've not closed above the June 22nd highs. So Monday's close on that one's going to be crucial. But we've got the dollar coming up with gold coming up. So that's the fear factor confirmed. Normally, a healthy relationship is divergent. This is bullish. I talked about gold at 1720 down here. Here we are, 1770. The obvious pullback will be 1750 to then see if we can go and see 1800. I think that's still possible. Tell you what, close underneath. If we now engulf that bar, we now close underneath lower than 1760, or certainly lower than 1750, then that is telling us that we could see some lower numbers first before we see higher numbers. So for example, we had a similar sort of story here. Well, we had another flag pattern here. So this is another flag pattern, the underneath of which could be as low as 1730. So I think we're seeing a repeat of this April-May flag up here. So we may still get some numbers, but the most likelihood is 1750 could see us get to 1800. But jury's out. Bear with me one moment. Okay, gold. Let's stick to commodities. Silver sideways. It may need a dip to get that going. It may need to fall back into that 1725. It's another bull flag, but it's losing momentum and may just need a dip before that's ready to push up. But at the moment, that's still close underneath 1760, and that could drag it all the way down to that support. Let's look at beans. Okay, so I was looking for that to push up to $9 at the moment. That strong dollar, so that's convergent with the dollar. The dollar's stronger, and that's punishing the grains. And I think we'll see that in the wheat as well. Here's the wheat. Yep. So this market has got a real issue with the strong dollar at the moment. So commodities are coming off, indices are coming off, but gold's coming up. So there's your fear factor. So at the moment, that looks as if 480 could potentially see that come down to 450. And of course, gas is at major support there. What I'd like to see is if we close underneath here, come and touch 15, and at some stage in the next week close above 1540, and that could trigger a revival. That could trigger a reversal. But at the moment, lower. Just look at coffee, and then we'll move on. Coffee's got relative strength, but it's not above the, can't close above the daily 20. So that could easily come back down to 92.50. Let's look at some currencies. Pound US back down to 50%. So this is the sort of pattern I'm looking for in the Dow. This has come back to is that 20? It's not quite 2020 range, is it? No, it's not. Why have I not put that on 20? Put that back. Let me put that back on the 2020 range then. Right, I just fibbed that on. This is pound US dollar for those who are just joining us. That is right on the 50%. Okay, that's right on the 50%. So if we do a little jinx pullback to 124 and break that low, we're going to see 121 in the pound US dollar, and in the euro. That's got relative strength. It's looking lower, but that is I've been watching the pound euro pound. So if we dip into 111 and hold, that could go higher. Given what we've seen on the dollar index and the markets, I would have thought that will come lower. It's had a really good run. We can see the strength in the euro from the euro pound. That's a nice couple of saucer pattern for all you pattern traders. There's the cup, and there's the cup and handle. I said cup and saucer, isn't I? So I'm a bit blocked, brain's a bit foggy, maybe. So Yeah, we are already closing higher. So this 95 and 98 is possible if we can keep closing above that, which looks likely. Any other currencies people want me to look at? Let me just go to my Forex. Pound Aussie dollar did not work out. Yeah, we're just potentially rolling over on the pound Aussie dollar. Don't often look at currencies. That's pound CAD. You're very quiet today. Yes, of course, I should be looking at, yeah, pound yen. So let me put this, okay, let's look at the last range. Well, we look as if we could come and see 129. It's on the line. I can see we're on a trend line here. We're holding a trend line. If we pop back above this 133, we could pop back up. This normally is you normally see yen strength in markets potentially rolling over because of a repatriation. It's not really a carry trade anymore, is there? Because everybody's got such low rates. But okay, yeah, that's a bit better. It's in that apex, but given what we said about the indices, I would have thought that's lower. So if you were trading that, I would short 132.75, 133 to see if that can land itself down at 129 or lower. But the fact that, I mean, for the bulls, we had this huge move on Monday 22nd, and we've not closed underneath it. So if we come back and test Monday 22nd lows at 131.75 and hold, or dip underneath it and come back up. So it's harder to call all the time. It sits inside that apex, but the trend, short to medium term, is definitely down. So we're going to 1, 2, 3 wave, 4. So it could, but potentially in wave 5. And like I said, the obvious place to come and see 130. If we can't hold 130, then we are lower. Okay, let's look at what market. I didn't look at oil yet. Let's look at oil. So we did gap fill on Tuesday. Yeah, we gap filled at Tuesday at long last, and surprise, surprise, they sold the gap. Now oil's got relative strength. We've got all that strength in the dollar we talked about, but we are holding up. So that's a short-term trend line just underneath us. So that would put it at, I would have thought we'd see, I would love to see 35 on it, so I would buy 35 if we come down and hold 35. At the moment, that looks, if that's as with any other commodity, or most of the commodities we've looked at, and given the strength of the dollar, that looks lower. But considering how bearish Friday was, that I was watching this held up really well. So I would have thought we'll come and see. I would have thought we'd come and see 50. In fact, let me fib this last range. Yeah, so we've got 36.44 underneath us. So that looks likely. 35, 36 looks likely, and then 43.30 take it as a fib level, and the major resistance is 49.40. So I'll be watching out for any movement into that 50% and that 35 area to potentially buy, but I'm going to really sit tight and make a call on that as the week unfolds. Right, let's look at the volatility index. So just coming back to the indices for a moment, you can see that holding up and rising. So any squirt, we could, looks as if we're going to go head towards 40 again, the way it's holding that average and sitting up. Right, anybody wants to look at any other markets before I move on to stocks? Anything else you want to look at before I move on to stocks? Any questions you got? Let's go back and look at 4-hour oil for a second while you're thinking about that. Yeah, see all that support down there at 35. We are making, at the moment, making lower lows and lower highs. So let's see how that one pans out. Right, okay, no requests coming in, so I'm going to look at some UK stocks first. I am going to look at Fresnillo. So got UK gold miner sitting up. It's right, it's tested the top of the channel there. So I'm wanting to buy this, but it sits up and won't drop. So you can see what I'm looking for, 750 in that one. Right, I have been shorting Domino Pizza. I'm looking at 4-hour chart, aren't we? Let's go back to the daily. Yeah, I still think Domino's is coming down to 275. Any pullback, if you want to get into this, try and get as high as you possibly can. I think the move is well and truly it's been underway since we closed on that lower close on the 4th of June. But like I said, if you do want to get in that, try and get anything close to 320. Auto Trader is struggling. I think that is shortable at 540 with a target of 494. BT is could I love it to come. I've got an alert for 100. I'd love it. That's looks lower. It's a scrappy chart. I'm looking to buy it, but I need to be very, very patient. I'm going to take that off. I'm just going to hope that it comes down to that 100 again. It's not that far off, really. It's only a 14% drop. The bars on Domino's. What do you mean, the bars on Domino's? Don't quite follow. Don't understand that question. Do you want to put your microphone on, or those levels? The levels to short. Well, I think the three.
No, the black line and the red line that you've got marked. What are those?
Support and resistance and trend lines. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sorry. So you've not fibbed this one for some reason. You just put support and resistance.
Yeah. Okay. Let's fib it. Good suggestion. So we've been closing. So closed under the 50%. Yeah. You can see that low was a fib level. It's narrowly missed it by the look of it, by a few pips. So 282. If we, it looks as if it looks a lot lower. It's very, it's a bit jumpy. It has been pushing up on some of these dips, but longer term, I would have thought we'd see 280 and potentially 250. I think if we can push up into the 325, 330, that might be a better place. There is some support down here, so if you want to short that one, I'll keep an eye on it, but higher might be better. Barclays lower, although any close above 115 could see that push back up, but short term, that's broken the trend line under the fibs. Looks as if we're going to come see 9900. Let's look at what else am I looking at? Premier Foods has been running away. That's now looks as if that's going to pause. I'll come back to that one another time. Now Rolls-Royce. I'm looking to buy Rolls-Royce. Not yet though. I would like to see 250. Why have you done that? Not sure if we will see 250, but that's what I'm looking for. And next, looks. I know I'm just a bear raider on anything like this. So that high on Monday the 8th, immediate close lower. So a sell signal June 9th, pull back into that sell signal on the 10th. Any attempt to get back to 52, I think is shortable, and then I think we'll see 42.50. Interesting. Chewy, that's a horrible chart. That is looking like we'll see £3. Right, US. I've been buying Mylan, but it's struggling. At the moment, I have to say that looks lower. So my stop is under here, under the 15 level. I got in at about 15.50. So I'm not risking much money. I've got an alarm set for 8. I've been waiting for 87 on this, 85.87 on Medtronic. That looks as if we'll see that very early part of the week. Gilead, just out of interest, on the squeeze. Bristol Myers, I'd love to see that lower. That does look lower. I'd like to buy around at the 50-53 mark. Let's look at some of the techs. Well, let's look at that. So PayPal holding up, but struggling. Netflix, decent sell. So that looks if we'll see 430 in Netflix. And Facebook. Whoa. Yeah, Facebook's taking a lot of punishment. A lot. Lovely. That's the same pattern as Domino Pizza. Lovely short pattern. Bear trap. So I wouldn't short Facebook. Why? Well, that's such a mega stock, isn't it? 225 looks as if we'll see 200. It's about time it came off. Yeah, I would love to see that come down to 190. Not sure if it will, but I'd certainly hold out for that. So look at Zoom. God, look at that. The Zoom's incredible. So that was a $70 stock. We're now 256. That is a sell signal. New high, close below. When we had a sell signal before on the 17th, and that just kept going. So that's a runaway. That's we need a decent drop to capture anything like that. Great chart patterns down here. Let's look at some oil stocks. Yeah, not great. Not good at all. Chevron. I would start picking some of these up. I would look at Chevron at 80. Murphy lower. Yeah, I would look at some of the bigger boys at some decent support levels if they fall to that. What else have we got? Okay, I mean I'll leave it there because any questions on what I've talked about so far? National Express, right? Should know the ticker for that, shouldn't I? Why can I not find it? NEX, yeah. Looks like 157's on the cards at the moment, unless we can turn around here. I think the key is going to be this 170. Are you in this at all? You are. We need to see some buyers come in soon. So like at the moment it looks as if 175, 180 is going to be seen. Unless of course we turn around very quickly and start getting above 200. I think that when we saw 260, 265, if you were wanting short to medium term profits, I think that was the level to get out at. That's the range. So at the moment, I think we're going to come and test the low of the range. So let's have a look at anything else. Supermarkets, Tesco. That was a good day. Wow, that's good relative strength. Oil Post, okay. Right. Oil. Ooh. Right on the fib level at that low, 152. I would have thought there is a gap down there. Look at that. At 147. At the moment, I have to say, I think that's gonna gap fill at 147. It just announced layoffs, haven't they? A couple of thousand staff have lost their jobs, I think. So I think that's going to head for 147. That's a very nasty sell bar on Thursday. Could even come underneath that. Unless, of course, we held on Friday. It's possible we could just climb from here, possible, but that's a horrible. Last time we did this here on the 27th of March, we were lower. Last time we did this, we didn't recover until 29th of April. Took a month to recover. So look, I'm just looking at the bellwether apple. Anything else you want me to look at? So I would have thought we could come as low as 330, 325 on Apple. It's certainly due a pullback. I'll go back. I'll keep on the theme of the UK stocks at the moment. Green core. This is one I was looking at. I think I forgot what they do. I must go and check. That's holding up okay. We hold that. And subsequently close above. This is a really nice pattern. We close above that 130, 135. I think that could go and see 180. I think that is a really good chart. Let me look at Rightmove. We're clinging on to this level here. Let's take all this off. So we gap down, we're clinging on. Oh, this is a UK bellwether to me. So we close anywhere underneath that. We could come back down to 495. I mean, your preference has got to be lower at the moment. It's got to be. I think it's telling that Chewy is so weak. So there's a lot of nervous signals in the market at the moment, a lot of sell signals firing off. Okay. Any others to look at? Ken, Waleed, anything else you guys want to look at? Just trying to think what else I want. Anything else I want to look at? Go down my list. Carnival. Ooh. Ted Baker Carnival looks horrible. BAE Systems. Struggling. I've got an alert set for 458 on BAE Systems. I'll just come to that one in a minute. Ted Baker. Quite a lot of red on these charts. Standard Chartered. That's okay. Right. Ted Baker. Ooh. There's an issue with this, isn't there? I've forgotten the story on this. Well, are you trading Ted Baker at all? If we close any lower here, and that's in sell territory, you're aiming to buy, right? I'd rather see that. Oh. Oh, excuse me, I just sneezed. I wouldn't want to buy that till it closes above at least 90. Okay, all right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for your company. Thanks a lot for joining me. Midweek review at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. If you've not got the link, shout now. Or if you want to come along, you've not got the link, shout now. A very economical newsletter is being launched this coming week, so I will, with all of these sort of UK and US stocks, if you're interested, let me know. It's a very modest monthly charge. Right, thanks a lot, everybody. Enjoy what is left of your weekend, and I will look forward to seeing you as the week next week. Thanks, bye.